and then share them, and then go, oh, wow.
And it could be things like thanking them for what they do, or expressing your appreciation for who they are, and try to make it a little bit of a mixture. And then when you're finished, you go ahead and show
Candace,
them.
for example, Candace said, I love the way you let me know you love me. I do love you, babe.
Thanks.
So take some time to do that, guys, and we'll get right back at it.
And we'll take about 10 minutes to do that.
So what do you guys think? Did you find some surprises? Did you find some, oh, wow, that's pretty cool? Did you find something that was totally shocking? All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about recognizing our differences. And differences of temperament, personality, background, expectation, and so on can cause conflict in a marriage. And sometimes we're not sure of the source of the tension. We may differ from our husband or wives in the way we look at the world, worldviews. That's always a big one to get tension going. We may be more logical. We are drawn to hard facts and details, while our husband or spouse is more intuitive, and they are drawn to the world of ideas. Well, I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Candace is, well, go ahead. You know, as a rhino personality, when you've got a certain point of view.
Well, sometimes I can be really logical thinking, and then sometimes I'm artsy, but I'm one of those people that I tell everyone, if you want to be in my space, you have to be willing to take sharp left turns, because sometimes I'm really logical and sometimes I'm really artsy. So that's one of the things that Todd's really had to...
I've had to maneuver.
Yeah.
And sometimes we differ from our husband or our wives in how we planned the way we like to be. For example, we may be well organized. We like to make plans well in advance. That's me.
He wants to know who, what, where, when, how, why.
And how we're getting there, why we're getting there, and what time.
And who's coming with.
That's
and
right.
Who's going to be there.
While our husband or wife is more spontaneous. Candace is more spontaneous, and she loves that. That's something that she thrives on. If I can be spontaneous and it's out of my shell a little bit, it's kind of uncomfortable, but if I can pull something, a little spontaneity in our life a little bit, she loves it. And when she loves it, she loves me.
I love it.
Whew, that's a great thought right there. Okay. And we may differ from our husbands or wives in where we derive our energy. If we're an extrovert, we will restore our energy through being with others. So like maybe on a Friday night, after work, you might want to go out and have a good time with your friends. And that's how you get your energy restored and I feel totally revived. I'm not that way, not at all. But
now, Todd's the kind of person that he gets his energy revived if he has just a few minutes of wind down time. One thing I've really learned about Todd is when he comes home from work, that I don't just kind of hit him with, oh, by the way, honey, we bounced 10 checks, and the kids need to go here, and this stuff. I let him really just...
I'm going to need a lot of time there to unwind if I hear that story. I'll see you Sunday.
Yeah. I really don't, other than just giving Todd a nice hug and a kiss, he really does need some wind down time, and that's the way he restores his energy, is just having a little quiet, peaceful time.
Yeah, I've got some friends that, after they've had a long, stressful work week, they're ready to just jump into something that's more energetic, and I don't know how they can do it, but that's how they do it, and that's how they unwind.
And I'm really the kind of person that I really... I feel more energized when I've got something next on the schedule. So, I'm the kind of person that likes to fill my schedule.
Right. So, me being an introvert, like Candace said, I like to just come home and take a deep breath and go, okay, what just happened? Who just ran me over?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you might find also that opposites attract with people, and which can cause problems, but you can also help balance each other out.
In a marriage, we must accept our differences. One attitude is not better than the other. It's just different. Not wrong, just different. And I'll use that statement a lot, guys, because there's nothing wrong with the person that Candace is, and there's nothing wrong with the person that I am. Not wrong, we're just different. And that's really something that we hit hard to people and to ourselves, because that was an eye-opener for us. I used to be upset with how Candace was, personality-wise. She would be irritated at my personality. But once you come to grips with it not being wrong, it's just different. It's okay, no brainer.
Well, and one of the other things is that because we are attracted to our opposites, sometimes the thing that attracted you to that person in the first place is the thing that you later become irritated about. One of the things that I was really attracted to Todd, that really attracted me to Todd.
Besides a good vacuum, I could really vacuum. No, I'm kidding.
That's helpful too. But he's just a really funny guy. He always made me laugh, and I was really attracted to that. But as time moved on, I felt like he could never be serious about anything, and I felt like, gosh, I can never have a serious conversation with this guy. He's always funny. So we really kind of had to learn to find that balance. So I could say, honey, I really need to have a serious conversation right now, and then he can just be funny old Todd
Any
every
other
other
time, right?
Yeah, and for me,
Well, Candace being very outspoken, I like the fact that she came across as very, able to talk any time around people. She wasn't afraid. She was very secure about herself as a person. I love that about her. Sometimes she can be
opinionated.
overly opinionated, yes, and that can be kind of tricky, but I still love her though. She's an awesome gal.
And I've really learned to work with that so that I don't say things that I know that is really going to make Todd feel uncomfortable or embarrassing. So
Yeah,
I'm working on that.
we work hard.
Work in progress.
That's right. So in a marriage, we must accept our differences. One attitude is not better than the other. It's just different. Having a good marriage means we see ourselves as a partnership, combining our strengths and complementing each other. One of the most significant areas of difference can be our attitude towards money. And boy, isn't that so true? A lot of those people that were interviewed, money was huge. So we've got a little story we're going to talk to you about. And
Yeah, it's another one of our stories because we're full of stories.
and personalities in a relationship, one of you might be a spender, and the other person might be a saver.
If you're both savers, you're set to go.
That's right. And if you're
retiring early.
both spenders, you're having a heck of a lot of fun, I guarantee you.
Might be broke, but you're having a great time.
You're having a great time. That's right.
But the more balanced would be having one being a spender and one being a saver, but that can also cause some problems. So on with our story. This is kind of a funny one.
Yeah, you guys could probably relate to this story.
Go ahead.
All right. You ever gone with the guys? I'm talking to the guys. And you might have some women that have wanted to do this. I was with my buddy. We went to Mesquite for the weekend. Just guy trip. Mesquite, nothing crazy. Just going to go to Mesquite, do a little gambling. Boy time. That's always fun. And just sitting there hanging out. Didn't have a whole lot of money to go down there with. Never do. I don't know anybody that does. So we went down there. I probably had $150 to burn.
I think you had 200. I know you had 250.
Yeah.
I still have the record.
So
Just so you know, I am the total financial geek. I mean, like, I make up my own. It's pathetic.
So when I say I have $150 with me,
I know
she knows
exactly
yeah.
what is spent, which category, what percent we spent, how much over we went of budget. It's pathetic.
She's got flow charts. I mean, our bathroom wall's got flow charts.
I have flow charts.
And I do mean
Pie
flow charts.
and line charts. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm down there. And her brother and I were really good friends. Still are.
Yeah.
And we went down there. And gosh, 7 come 11. Oh man.
250 goes quick.
Goes real quick.
So here I am at home, being the financial geek that I am, watching the bank account. $10, $20.
She's online.
$25.
I
And
wanted
I'm
to.
furious, like minute by minute watching it, because it goes right through your bank account. Plus, the $5 fee from, getting it at the casino.
Yeah, we're changing banks. All I got to say, that bank didn't have near enough money in it.
Furious. So, being the rhino that I am, what are you doing?
And being the hedgehog I am, I can't hear you. You're
like-
breaking up. Wait a minute. Boy, that phone kept ringing. So it comes down to when you're a spender, you don't want to hide it from your spouse, guys. And
That is going to be the number one thing that's going to tear your relationship apart. It's one thing to spend the money, but when you're hiding it, then you've created a whole nother problem, and that's lying. And lying, it really is hard to trust somebody. You cannot trust somebody who's lied to you. So you cannot hide it. I'll be honest and I'll say that there has been times in our marriage where I've bought, and ladies, I'm sure you can maybe semi-relate to this. I buy a dress and then I get home and I have buyer's remorse and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have spent the money on that dress. And then you hide it in the closet and take all the tags off and you hope he doesn't notice. And he's like, is that a new dress, honey? Oh, no, this little thing. For years. You never notice anything, honey. But seriously, you cannot hide things like that from your spouse. You have to just be honest, and it helps keep you accountable.
Yeah, so we need to look for each other's strengths and support each other's weaknesses. In this way, we work together and we complement each other. So, now it's your turn. Exercise 2, recognize your differences, on page 37. Let me get the little book because I can't quite remember. I think it talks about when you go to Mesquite, what do you do with your money, but I could be wrong. Nope, wrong book. Okay, here we go. What you do is, for example, you mark your initials, and for the example, the money issue, who tends to spend more money in the relationship? Kind of use that as a bar scale. For the example of Nikki and Scylla, looks like Scylla seems to spend all the money in that relationship, and Nikki's kind of in the middle. So work that out for about 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, and do it you're on your own, and then when you're done, like pick what you think you are and what your spouse is, and then when you're done, then you go ahead and share with each other.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. Music maestro.
And I heard a lot of laughter going on. I hope that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a cool little exercise. I enjoyed doing that one too. It was really fun.
Yeah, actually, there was kind of Todd and I remember when we did this, and there were some differences of opinion, but
we resolved that conflict really quick, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to talk about different ways to negotiate areas of conflict. People approach conflict differently, obviously, and some of us attack, which is what we try to force our partners to think of our way. And we kind of gave an example of that before when we were talking about the snowmobile story. What I did was I attacked him, and certainly not something I should be able to do. Some of us surrender, and that's when we simply just give in every time. And
I used to do that.
Yeah, and Todd really did. He used to do that all the time, and I would be constantly attacking, and he's constantly surrendering. And I don't really, as much as even before when I felt like I always want to win, it really does kind of stink winning all the time. I mean, because I really do. I'm in for the fight for the fun of it. So if he's not fighting back,
well, now that's some new battleground material there.
I want a little fight back. Some people bargain. They're always trying to.
I did that a lot too.
Yeah, if you do this, I'll do that.
Once I surrendered and I was in my trench hole, I was like, I better bargain my way out of this.
If you do this, I'll do that. But it's easy, but it's all too easy. It becomes, I won't do this if you don't do that. So you got to really watch that too. But none of these are really effective in resolving conflict or building closeness in a marriage. One other way to negotiate is to discuss the issue together and finding a solution that works best for your marriage, and that's the key. You really have to find something that really works best for your marriage, and you don't want to do it in the middle of a fight. It means seeing we're on the same side and not on opposite sides, and so we're going to look at 6 steps, easy for me to say.
Say that fast.
6 steps for effective negotiation, or 6 steps for peace.
I'll get the little graphic up for you.
There we go.
There they are. Looky there.
Okay. The first thing is you need to find the best time to have discussions for issues. Half of all arguments between couples take place in the evenings, and a quarter of those argue during stressful moments leading up to special occasions. Sound familiar?
Does that happen to you guys at all?
Say Christmas or
weddings.
Birthdays, weddings, funerals.
Sure.
And it's just because tensions are really high and it just becomes easy to set in conflict. So we recognize that there are bad times to try and resolve arguments, such as in front of other people. Obviously we need privacy when we argue with each other. When we're about to leave for work, that's not a really good time to throw something at somebody, because then that's sort of like the the drop and run kind of thing, that passive aggressive. You don't want to leave for the day with something that heavy on your heart. I know that for Todd, it's not when he first comes home from work. He really does need time to decompress. So if I have something that I really need to discuss with him, I have to hold back and wait, give him time to kind of decompress, and then attack. No, just kidding. I do that.
That was good.
Do I?
Oh, well, no.
The other thing is to avoid it before a special occasion. I mean, obviously, no one wants to go to a wedding with puppy eyes and
Yeah.
all stressed out about an argument.
Have
that
a
you
great,
had.
wonderful wedding, but
Yeah.
when this is over, oh my gosh.
But here's the other thing. You have to remember, and I think this is so important. You have to remember that the primary relationship other than God is your spouse. And if you need to skip an occasion, you need to skip an event to really repair that relationship with your spouse, then you need to be okay with that. You need to be able to say, you know what? I'm not going to go to this picnic or a barbecue or something. I really need to stay here and really repair my marriage, because that's more important to me than hurting my friend's feelings.
That's so true.
What's that? No.
No, not at all.
No, because anytime that you're working on your relationship first and you're putting your marriage first, then you're telling your spouse that they're number one in your life.
Yeah, that's right. And guys, and I've done that. I love going to Lake Powell. And I had some buddies that say, "Hey, Todd, we're going down this weekend. Can you go?" "Oh, you bet I can go. I'm ready to." You know what? I'm going to have to pass on this trip this time, guys, because I haven't seen Candace all week. And I love Lake Powell. Don't get me wrong. I love it down there. But I haven't seen Candace this week. And what's more important to me is my relationship with Candace.
And what's important for me to be able to say is, you know what, honey, I know we haven't seen each other this week and this trip's really important to you. I'm okay with you going, and as long as we schedule time together. So it's a give and give. It's not a give and take, it's a give and give. The other thing is that for a lot of us, especially if you have kids, you wait till the end of the night, because our perspective tends to be a little, but you want to avoid that, because your perspective can be a little distorted, because you're tired, you've had a long day. So we want to tell you really the things that are really important for us. And again, I would just want to stress that what works for us doesn't necessarily mean what works for you. For us, our rules are that we really need to have a quiet place. We never argue we never argue in our bedroom, because our bedroom is it's a sacred place, and we don't want to have to think about going to bed in a place where we've just had a knockdown, drag out fight. And I'll tell you that's hard, because we don't live in a huge house and we've got small kids. So sometimes that means going out back in the backyard, or going in the garage, or sitting in the back of the boat, or something like that. But we do have to have a quiet place. One thing with Todd and I is that we do tend to try and argue on the spot. In other words, not let it sit, unless we just can't. If we're out and about and we're at a barbecue or something like that, obviously we're not going to just have a knockdown, drag out at our friend's house. And
marriage
so
course or something like that.
Yeah. But we just don't fight like that anymore.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
But we will schedule a fight later on. I mean, if we will say, we'll schedule the fight.
Get your
Friday
tickets.
at 6 o'clock, honey, we're having a fight.
All right, get the boys over.
Just so we can make up, honey. No, but seriously, I mean, we will put it off if we have to. But we do tend, both of us, even though Todd is the kind of guy that really likes to think things through first, and I'm the kind of person who's chasing him around the house where he's like, leave me alone, leave me alone. We do tend to at least work on it within the next, we don't let it go more than a half a day.
That's right.
And what's my note here say?
Quiet place on
Oh.
this. Yes, we did that.
Yeah, we and I already talked about that. We don't really, we try not to put things on hold, but we will if we really have to.
And another thing that you need to do is identify the issue, and we're going to kind of, arguments so easily get widened, and we can't remember what it is we're arguing about. So we find that we're fighting on all fronts, by land, sea, and air. And if you're going to negotiate and resolve the conflict effectively, we have to lay down our weapons and work out what the main issue is. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a quick visual. If you don't mind this.
No, that's right back there. Remember you had a better.
That's right. Okay, sit down, babe. Here's the garbage that we're fighting about. Here's the trash in our relationship. It's between us right here. And the junk is right here beside us.
Whatever is causing our conflict, if it's between us, we're having a hard time communicating with each other because we've got all this junk here between us, and we're sort of fighting it, and we're fighting each other, and it's this crossfire back and forth.
We don't really know what each other's fighting about. I mean, I've got a side of the junk right here that I'm telling her this is really whatever the issue is, in my opinion, and she's got a totally different view of what the issue is. So the main thing is get that junk right here, right out in front. Come together.
And if you see, just this visual here, now we're together, we have nothing between us, and we can really, despite whatever the issue is, together, and, we
You can
knock
see
it
all
down
sides of
together.
the issue right now. I don't just see the one side, I can see everything that's causing the problem.
Right, and
And
we
that's
can,
huge.
together we can really solve a lot more than we can if we have all this junk between us.
That's right. That's huge.
I moved it over.
Oh, cool.
Okay, the other thing we want to talk about is discuss the issue rather than attack each other. And again, this is me. I always pick the ones that are the hardest for me. So this may well involve us finding ways in which to control our temper. Temper or uncontrolled anger is very destructive and tragically can cause people to become physically violent, which will destroy a marriage. This is a really big issue for me because what I do professionally, I see a lot of domestic violence, and if there's anybody ever, if you ever know of anybody who is living in a situation where anger is a problem, I'd be happy to be a resource for you. But Gary Chapman also has a book called The Other Side of Love, Handling Anger in a Godly Way, and that's a book recommendation for you. But equally devastating can be attacking each other with words in the heat of conflict. And I have a story that I want to share with you, which kind of illustrates how words can really tear somebody down, and it can really just break their spirit. Libby Purvis, who's a writer and journalist, quotes a young wife named Maureen, who suffered serious negative consequences as a result of an argument with her husband. My husband once told me I was a selfish, stupid, fat, frigid peach. Admittedly, I had just called him worse things. But when he said that about me being frigid, I couldn't forget it. Whenever we make love now, I keep thinking that's what he thinks about me. I sort of stopped trusting him. Libby Purvis comments on Maureen. She is also dieting obsessively, slim though she is, because of the fat bit in the insults. The old line, angry people always say things they don't mean, is counterbalanced by the equally old line that only when you are angry do you dare say what you really mean. Most of us have a fairly total recall of things said in anger.
Boy, that's so true.
It's crucial that we learn to discuss the issue rather than attacking each other, and there are some particular things that can help. The first thing is avoid labeling. Absolutes can really break a spirit. You need to avoid things like you always and you never, because the truth is you don't always and you don't never. So you really just have to avoid those absolutes. When we use these phrases, we start to label each other and our character. So you never lift a finger, or you're always giving away our secrets, and you always make us late. Those kinds of things can really just break a person's spirit. It's much better if you use the statements like, I'm upset with you, or I'm upset that you didn't help me clear up or clean up, or I get really embarrassed when you give away our secrets. This is something kind of for us because we're always giving away our secrets. But we have to really be careful that we share what we're going to share ahead of time, so that we don't share things about each other that the other person didn't want us to know, or other people to know. The other thing is I get so frustrated when we're late instead of you always make us late. If we're going to be able to discuss the issue, it always involves listening to our partner. That's particularly important if we know we're better with words than our husband or wife. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people are better at talking things out than other people. So when we're having an argument, we are we are very adamant that our partner understands our point of view, but we're not so quite adamant about that we understand theirs.
That's right. I think a rhino likes to.
Right. The other, one
Charge.
thing that you can really do is just take turns to talk. Remember,